Hey guys, it's your girl Fairy Queens here, and welcome back to another video. So a few months ago, I was actually talking about doing Wiz-themed nail art, and I tried this out on my own fingers, and it was just not exactly what I thought it was gonna be. I'm right-handed, so I was trying it out on my left hand, and I realized I only have 5 fingers, and there are 7 schools. So this just really was not ideal. I think if I had used somebody else's fingers, it probably would have worked out better. But even then, the setup that I was using and the nail polish and everything just was not what I had in mind originally. So I kept trying with this. I really wanted to make it work. I had a small brush that I was gonna use to make the designs on my fingernails, but I'm just so impatient that I didn't even really wait for the base coat to dry, and it was just kind of turning into a mess. So in the end, I took a deep breath and I said, let's just stop. So that's exactly what I did. I just put everything aside, and for whatever reason, I decided to keep this clip on my computer. So yesterday I was looking back on all of my old clips and I saw it and I was like, hey, let's do something with this. So I opened up Fire Alpaca and I took a picture of my nails. It was much easier to create digital nail art than my actual nails, so I'm really happy with the results. If you want to see how I got this, then keep watching. So I've obviously never done this before. I started out with the School of Storm on my pointer finger, and I wasn't really sure how I wanted to shape this nail. I just started with the natural curvature of my own fingernail, and then I just kind of made it longer. Now, I definitely had no ideas for the design, but beforehand I had started looking at some pictures of nail art designs, so I went with this, and I put the storm symbol in the center. I think this one turned out pretty cute. Fire, I was actually really happy with the way that this one turned out. I have a feeling that some of you guys are gonna think this one's a little bit too plain, but this is probably one of my favorites, honestly. I made it really long and pointy because it just kind of reminds me of a fire flame, I guess. And I did a gradient that reminded me of Dahlia Falmea's hair and her dress. I put the fire symbol in the center, did some shading, and I was happy with this one. Now we're on to the School of Ice. This one is probably one of my least favorites. I kept this nail short, I guess. Well, I mean, it's not really short, but I kept this one just the same length as my actual nail, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I ended up going with this pattern because it kind of reminds me of a snowflake. Then I put some white dots over it to represent snow and did a small gradient, and then I put the ice symbol. And now we're moving on to the School of Balance. This nail also ended up being one of my favorites. When I was working on my actual nails, the brown polish that I was using had sparkles in it, so I knew that I wanted to have sparkles in this one. I feel like that kind of represents sand, so I did a beige to maroon gradient with sparkles on top and the balance symbol in the center. I really like this nail. And now we're moving on to the shadow school. Since my thumb is turned, I knew that I didn't want to do an actual school on here because I wanted to save the 7 main schools for my fingers as opposed to my thumb. So I made the shadow school symbol and I put some turquoise little veins, I guess, and I really like this one. And now we are starting with the other hand. For the pointer finger, I did the School of Life, and let me tell you, this was probably the hardest nail to do. I had so many ideas in my head, but I had no good way of putting them on the nail. At first, I wanted to do something with like spring blossoms, and then I was like, no, let's do something like the pattern of a leaf. But then I didn't like that either. Then I started thinking about like beads, like wooden beads, because to me that seems very like shaman-y, like very lifey, and I really liked that. But I was like, how am I supposed to put beads on a fingernail? So then I started thinking about nail jewelry, and that's an actual thing, mind you. People will put a little hole in the tip of their fingernail and then they'll have jewelry hanging from it. But mine looked way too straight. So I ended up turning it and just kind of acting like it was glued to the nail, and then I drew the life symbol on top of it, and I was happy with it. I mean, I feel like I could have done more to it, but I still like it. I still like the beads. Like, I really like the beads, so I'm glad that worked out. And now we're moving on to the School of Death. I asked Troy, and he said that this was his favorite one. I mean, I like it, but it's not my favorite. I made it very pointy, and I like the pointiness of it. It's very sharp. It looks like a claw, but it's kind of boring to me. I tried doing like spider webs or like cracks, I guess, in the nail, and I put the death symbol on top of it. And now we're moving on to the School of Myth. Oh my gosh, this one is my favorite one. At this point, I was completely running out of ideas and I did not know what to do. I started out by making the shape of it square instead of curved, and I was messing around with different brushes. I really liked this one because it reminded me of Azteca, but the more that I looked at it, it reminded me of like a snake pattern. And I was like, this is perfect because of Medusa. So I ended up making it a snake on top of it, and it's just my favorite thing. I finished it by putting the myth symbol at the top, and I did not put a shiny coat on this because I kind of liked the matte finish. Over here, I did the Star School, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't really care about this one. I just needed to make it look like it wasn't plain, I guess. This was actually the worst one by far. I hate that nail, so let's just pretend it's not there. And then over here, I did the Moon School. Again, by no means my favorite, but I did like the colors that I ended up using. I kind of just used the Shadow, Star, and Moon School as filler nails, so don't really take these seriously. So here we have the final result. I am absolutely obsessed with these nails. In total, each nail took me about 10 minutes to complete. Which one is your favorite, and which one is your least favorite? It's okay, it won't hurt my feelings, I promise. Would you guys wear these nails out? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, it means the world to me, and if you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a big thumbs up and a comment down below. Bye!